Hi, this is Andrew Twidwell once again with the show You Got This. This is a show of DIY do's and don'ts. And I am riversiding in with, what's your name again? Presley. It's the second time in this conversation where I couldn't remember your name.
Might
It's
have been
been one of
the
those weeks
might have been
where
the
just
third
trying to
time.
remember everybody's name and yeah, and calling my son Paul or whatever, yeah, for the umpteenth time. And his name is Theo. So yeah, go figure.
And
Paul
then
is an employee, a
and
coworker of mine.
then I have a dog named Theo. So you've got a
Theo,
son
right?
named Theo. I've got a Theo. When I say something
Yeah,
about Theo, it's like very different than what you say about Theo. It's
yeah,
it's weird.
yeah.
Little world.
And I can't remember names because, yeah, now it's gotten to the point where I'm 56 years old and I can't remember names anyway. But now we've got 30 people that work here, and like trying to remember people's names is, yeah. What's your name again? Especially some of these guys that have been here for like 3 or 4 weeks. 'Cause we got a couple of new guys. It's like one of our new guys, one of our managers is calling him Jacob, and then I come out to find that no, his name is not Jacob, it's Caleb. So Kevin, dude, you need to figure out who your guys' names are, and don't tell him don't call him Jacob. He's like, whatever. Yeah, I'll call him Jacob. And I
Oh,
did call Teresa Jennifer, I think, for the first week, or Rachel, one of the two. Yeah, yeah. And she wouldn't correct me. So yeah, she didn't
really?
correct me.
I
Yeah,
that
but
shocks me.
yeah,
She didn't correct you. That's all I'm gonna say about
this is
that.
early on in a relationship. Yeah, it's been 5 years now, 6 years now, but early on in a relationship, yeah. Apparently, I scare people until they get to know me a little bit. Yeah,
Oh, oh wow. That's not what I. Wow. Like the one thing I will say is I think you're probably more afraid of me than I am you, but that's a
I'm more
personality
afraid of
thing.
everybody than they should be of me. That's
I
for
know.
sure. Yeah.
True. Very true. My God.
So yeah, trying to remember your name. So anyway, we're zooming in. Well, not zooming in. We're riversiding in because that's the platform we're on. We have been using Zoom for the longest time for this show, but now we're using Riverside. Hopefully, the sound is better. We have had some technical difficulties on your end for sound, and we're still working on that. Hopefully, you sound better. We'll find out once we air this product because we don't really know until we actually get it up and produced. But um, yeah, so fun times, and we're videoing this. So if you guys want to, if you want to see what our mugs look like, you can see us on our pages as you make silly faces. Yeah, I actually have. You're not using your little halo light. I'm using my halo light and everything. Yeah, good.
No, I get enough light coming in off it reflects off my glasses on the technology. So like if my
Yeah,
phone lights
I
up,
got the rings in my
yeah.
glasses. Yeah,
Um,
but I'm in a windowless, our new conference room. We hired a new ops guy, COO, Scott Eagle. He just came over from Sierra Pacific, another one of our huger competitors down in not the Bay Area, but down in the Sacramento region. Um, so he got our old conference room with the window, and now I'm in the windowless conference room. So I got to use light. So I either have the LED lights and the circle light, or that's it, or it's dark. So yeah,
I
no
just
no,
opt
no sunshine.
I just opt for let it be dark. They're not here to see me. They're here to hear you talk about DIY and plumbing and electrical and heat and air. And we have something exciting going on this weekend because Earth Day is coming up. Um,
Yeah, so it's on Friday, I think. It's the 21st, right?
I
If I
think
remember
I
correctly.
think Earth Day is the 22nd. It's actually Saturday, but
22nd. It's actually
yeah.
Saturday. All right. I couldn't remember. But anyway, yeah, we've got the Sacramento Earth Day Fair. It is hosted by the ECOS, which I'm assuming is Earth something or other. I can't remember. I should know more, right? Do you know anything about the E? Okay, you lead this. Why am I talking?
I
I'm
don't.
gonna zip. You're on it. You sent
Can't
me the text, and that's like I
you
got a
can't
page to read from.
remember?
That's about it.
You can't remember anything. Okay, so the
Yeah,
Environmental
I can't remember
Council.
people's names, let alone what are we doing this weekend? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway, so the Environmental Council of Sacramento, which is often called ECOS, they're hosting Sacramento Earth Day. Okay, it's going to be at South Side Park in Sacramento this Sunday from 11 to 4. They're going to have environmental education, community building, music, family stuff, food, all that good stuff. And we are going to be down there representing. We're trying to make more connections in the Sacramento region, of course, because we are building and expanding. So we just thought we've got some cool products we want to talk about a little bit, which we're also going to talk about on today's show because they are environmentally friendly. They help you save money. There's rebates available. So we thought this would be a great time to talk about that product.
Yeah. So yeah, we got our new guy, Scott Costa, who came from Water Heaters Only, which is actually a local company, but they don't sell water heaters in our market. They just sell water heaters down in San Francisco and the LA market. But anyway, we hired him on as marketing developer, and so he's been doing all of our marketing developing, and he will be down doing the show, and it's something they did at Water Heaters Only. So really looking forward to that. He's doing a fantastic job, and one of the things we'll be promoting down there are heat pump water heaters. And you and I were having this conversation yesterday, like what is a heat pump water heater and how long have they been out? So it is a relatively obscure product, but it's been out for some time. I believe they've been out for a long time, but really hit the market hard about 10 years ago. And we actually installed one for Tom Fitzsimmons and his wife about 5 years ago, maybe even longer. I can't remember. He replaced his electric water heater with a heat pump water heater and saved a substantial amount of money on his energy bill. The interesting thing with a heat pump, so not a lot of people understand how heat pumps work. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about it. So you've got heat pumps for water heaters now for heating water, and you've got heat pumps for heating air inside our homes. So one of the cool things about heat pumps is all they're doing is they are transferring heat. So it's actually an air conditioner working in reverse. So an air conditioner. So the weird thing about heat and cool is there's no such thing as cold. Cold is just the absence of heat in thermodynamics. My, junior high school level or high school level of understanding thermodynamics, there's no such thing as cold. There's just an absence of heat. So all we do is we either heat stuff utilizing some form of energy, fuel, be it natural gas, propane, wood, those sort of things that we burn and form heat, or we extract heat from the environment and move it from one area to another. So that's what a heat pump does. It literally just takes heat out of the air and moves it to another area via refrigerant. So it's either moving heat to, like for when you're trying to cool the house, is extracting the heat from your house and dumping it outside. And that's why the condensers will ice up, right? I mean, it's literally moving moving that heat away from the other area. That makes sense. Why is it icing up? Never mind. Forget what I just said. It's moving the heat from inside to the outside. What we do for a heat pump is we reverse that. So we're taking heat from the outside and putting it in. So one of the interesting things is the technology in heat pumps have gotten so great. There was a time when heat pumps worked to about 40 degrees ambient temperature. So if the outside temperature was 40 degrees or greater, it extracted heat from the outside and put it into the inside. We've got heat pumps now that'll work in negative 15, negative 20. There's still enough heat because it's not absolutely zero. They'll be extract enough heat and dump it into the house and heat your house even when it's below 0 degrees outside Fahrenheit. And the same thing works on the electric. The electric isn't quite that efficient. So even when it's down in the 30s or colder, it's not pulling that much heat out of the air. But it does have a heating element in there. So if it's really cold outside, it might use the heating element. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you got an electric water heater, that's all we're using anyway. And the way we heat water right now with an electric element is it's literally a toaster oven or a toaster element. So like if you can picture like looking down in your toaster, that little glowing wire, what we're doing is we're taking electricity and running it through this resistance coil. We're resisting the flow of electricity, so it puts off heat, just like if you were to run a really high amperage piece of equipment on a really skinny electrical cord, extension cord. The electrical cord gets hot. same thing is happening. We're slowing the electrons, and it's giving off some heat, right? So the same thing works with electric water heaters. It uses a lot of energy to do that, to produce the heat by using a resistance coil. It uses very little energy to transfer heat from one area to another. So we're transferring the heat from the outside into our into our water heater and filling the water heater. The other cool thing about an electric water heater that a lot of people don't talk about, for the longest time, it was kind of, a gas water heater was actually cheaper to run than an electric water heater. And that's still true to a certain degree if you were to just talk about heating the water. But when the water, one of the things about a tank water heater is we heat this bucket of water, if you will, this tank of water, and we pull water off of it throughout the day, right? We're not depleting the entire tank of hot water. It's still sitting in there. In a gas water heater, we have a flame that's underneath this pot or this bucket or this tank, and then we have to have this flue chamber through the middle of it for the byproducts of combustion. As we burn fuel, you have carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and some other trace elements in our byproducts of combustion in our flue gases that we need to expel, we need to get out of the unit. And they do that by a flue chamber inside the water heater. Well, when the burner turns off, it's not really doing anything other than radiating heat. It's literally taking the heat from inside that water heater, and you can put your hand on top of a water heater, even when it's off, even when the pilot's off. If the tank's hot, you can feel a huge amount of heat being extracted and going up to the flue. Electric water heaters, on the other hand, are this nice little insulated thermos bottle. There are no flue chambers in it. It's got insulation all the way around it. So the standby time on it makes up greater than the amount of heat that we're losing in a water heater. So it may be true that it takes less energy and is cheaper to heat water with gas, but on the daily basis of utilizing that water heater, it's actually cheaper to use electric water heater. And then you double that by utilizing a heat pump water heater. Now all of a sudden it's exponential, because actually a heat pump water heater is greater than 100% efficient, which is kind of weird. But because you're moving energy, you're not producing energy. You're literally moving the heat energy from outside and putting it inside your tank, or from actually they don't take it from the outside. They take it from the environment that they're in, wherever that happens to be. So it's usually in the closet, in the attic, or in the garage. But there's enough heat in there to actually extract it and heat it up. So it's more than 100% efficient. A regular water heater, electric or gas, you're talking in the 60 to 70% range. So for every dollar of energy you put into it, you're reaping about 60 to 70 cents in heat.
That's incredible.
So it's a substantial savings. So if you are thinking about replacing a water heater, specifically an electric water heater, it's a really good idea to educate yourself on a heat pump water heater. They are more expensive, and I don't remember exactly how more expensive they are, but you're talking not hundreds, but thousands of dollars more. But they will pay for themselves. So it's one of those weird things. Water heaters are one of those things where you're going to see a quicker payback than you will on furnaces. And even if we want to talk about savings, like a thermal solar water heater pays back a lot faster than PV panels for electricity. It's ridiculous. But we don't have enough tax credits, and people aren't really clued into it. Most other countries don't use natural gas or electricity to heat water. They use the sun. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But in any event.
But we do have some, when I was trying to get some information ready for this product so that our business guy could present it and have it available. So one of the things that I thought was so interesting was the rebates that are available are kind of staggering, to be honest with you. I was shocked at how good the rebates are. Around, 30%? You can get... Yeah,
up to 30% back, up to like $2,000 for a heat pump water heater for PG&E. And depending on what market you're in, I know SMUD, if you're in the SMUD market, they give even more. And there's, things have changed so much, especially with this Build Back Better program. I haven't even been able to keep up with all the rebates that are available out there, but there are some rebates from Build Back Better to go towards heat pump products, whether that's a heat pump furnace or heat pump water heater. there are a lot of incentives and tax credits and rebates that are available from both the utility and the federal government. And I think even California's got some in there. Don't quote me on that, but it's a good idea if you are on the fence thinking about changing. If you've got an electric water heater that's older than 11 or 12 years old, it's time to start saving some money to replace that thing and do some research in terms of what I should be putting in. And I would highly recommend, if you got an electric water heater, really look at a heat pump water heater. It'll pay for itself pretty quickly. And especially if you already have an electric water heater. The reason I say that is because of the fact that if you already got an electric water heater, you've got the electrical hookup already, you got all the water and everything. It's substantially cheaper because you've already got the circuit there. If we have to pull a circuit from the main panel there, the payback's going to be a lot longer because of the fact that you got to pull a whole new circuit. But it's kind of, when we were talking yesterday about it, it's kind of, I liken it to like in the old days when we were taking out tank type water heaters and putting tankless water heaters in. We usually had to put a new gas line in, so that jumped the price up quite a bit. And tankless water heaters are 90% efficient. So again, electric heat pump water heaters are greater than 100%. They are the most efficient form of water heating by using a utility, barring using solar. Again, we don't do a lot of solar here in the United States for thermal heat, but a heat pump water heater it's kind of a no-brainer. It really is. It's substantial savings. And then with these rebates and things, you're probably talking about the same amount of cost once you get all the rebates and stuff of just a regular water heater, but you're getting a heat pump water heater for free, or at least the upgrade for free, and then that little bit is going to be paid for by energy savings. So it's pretty cool.
I think not to get all focused on the price, but I think as an example, and this doesn't include like having professional installation or whatever, but when I was poking around trying to get some data pulled together, I think it was around $2,800 or $2,900 is what I saw for this type of water heater. And then when you think about, but with the rebate, you're really looking at then just slightly maybe average price for a water heater, maybe a little bit higher still.
Right.
But the savings on your energy bill, and then also the reason we're talking about it connected to Earth Day is because you explained the process, and it's probably pretty clear from that it's more gentle to the environment. It's more environmentally conscious, which is important to some people, a lot of people.
Yeah, that's important to me, and it is a major. The footprint of these things is ridiculously small compared to a regular water heater. Gas water heater is really dirty, especially in our market because we don't have to worry about NOx that you do in Sacramento. Like in our rural environment, they don't fall into the exhaust regulations that gas appliances fall into in Sacramento County, the Bay Area, and those areas. So in our area, we're pumping out a lot more noxious fumes than we do even the ones that pass the NOx standards. They're still pumping out quite a bit of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and other gases that aren't necessarily good for the environment or good for our health. So, and that's a whole other subject. God, if you guys want to do any, you can go down the rabbit hole about gas appliances. Like, we're talking about Earth Day, so I'll talk about a gas range compared to an electric induction range. We actually converted to induction in one of our places, and oh my God, night and day, so nice. No carbon monoxide in the house. The heat control was ridiculously better than natural gas or propane. Cooking with it is a breeze. If you are looking at replacing your range, really look into induction. You will say not only will it save you money on electricity because it's not forming heat. Again, it's just magnets. It's a completely different type of way that it produces the heat, and the heat control is so much faster than we've got a rental that has the Element style range, and they're kind of not the greatest for heat control and cooking because once it heats up, it's really hard to cool it down. It's really hard to fluctuate the heat. But Yeah, induction is great. And to be honest, I mean, we're moving that way, right? I mean, the world is moving towards electric because we're moving away from fossil fuels. And if you can get ahead of this, you're going to save some money in the long run, and you're going to be a trailblazer on this. So heat pumps the way to go for your furnace. Heat pumps the way to go for your water heating. Induction is the way to go for your range. We can move completely away from natural gas and propane and use electricity. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, I live in a rural community and we don't, we run out of electricity all the time. Yeah, it is an issue. I can't address that other than, generators, standby generators, or solar panels and backup batteries to be able to deal with those times. But we are moving away. I know, I think it's by 2030 in California that any new construction, we're not going to have any natural gas products in any new homes. It's all going to be electric. So we're moving that way anyway. You may as well be in front of it. California's a leader in energy reduction. California has been the leader in clean air. It's in water use. We've been the leader in everything, and we're going to be a leader in moving away from fossil fuels. So you may as well be ahead of it instead of behind it.
Okay, so that was a beautifully packaged. Before we sign off for this show, can I just bring up, I would love for you to talk for just a minute, because that's all you have, about the electrical safety inspection promo we're doing right now.
Speaking of electricity, yeah. So we are promoting an electrical whole house safety inspection, and we've got that going right now to the end of the month for $49. Why would you want somebody to come in and look at your electrical system? Well, if your house is over 25 years, most agencies recommend that you have your electrical system inspected. You don't think of things, your wiring going bad. No, your wiring is probably going to be fine. It's the connections that we got to worry about. When we have thermal expansion and contraction, we're going to have that. And connections get loose. And when connections get loose, bad things start to happen. We start having arcing. We start having, and what's an arc? Arc is a little mini lightning bolt that's jumping the gap in the air for the electrons to jump. So we want to find those. So we'll go and make sure that the panel is holding together, doesn't have any of these issues. We've got another issue in our area when there were some major rebates for going all electric back in the 70s and 80s. A lot of these panels were installed called Zinsco panels. We got a lot of them. If you look inside your panel and you got a panel that's got a lot of orange and blue and kind of pastel-y colors, not just black breakers, you got a Zinsco panel. Those have an aluminum bus bar. Aluminum is not really good for conducting electricity. It was something that was done back in the 70s and 80s. We had a lot of aluminum wiring going in and a lot of aluminum going in. We've got a lot of problems with those. There were some recalls on that product, and unfortunately the lawsuits have been all paid out. But we have seen, I know personally of 2 house fires that happened up here because of Zinsco panels. That's just the ones that I know about. You should really have those inspected. At least have us inspected and looked at and make sure we don't have any arcing. So for $49, we can come out and take a look at that. And I got to wrap this up. So thank you for that cue. If you can reach us if you need any plumbing, electrical, heating, or take advantage of a $49 electrical inspection, you can reach us at 530-230-9092. That number again, 530-230-9092. You can find us on the web at abtplumbing.com or easyasabt.com. And with that, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.